I ended 7 wars, and in all cases they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, Pakistan and India. A vicious, violent war that was. Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them.
But behind the applause, behind the flags and fireworks, America's war machine was printing money like never before. Because while politicians sell peace on TV, war has quietly become America's most profitable startup ever built. Welcome to Talk Maniac. Around the world, conflicts are rising, but so are profits. The US weapons industry doesn't just manufacture missiles and tanks, they manufacture narratives. Let's look at the numbers. After 9/11, when America invaded Iraq and Afghanistan, the stock price of Lockheed Martin shot up nearly 900% between 2001 and 2020. When the US sent billions to Ukraine, the New York Stock Exchange fell by 7%. But Lockheed Martin, up 42%. Northrop Grumman, up 34%. General Dynamics, up 22%. So who's winning here, the people or the shareholders?
Around the globe, conflict is on the rise, and the weapons fueling it are deadlier and more destructive than ever. The US weapons industry. What impact is it having on our world?
Well, they're not just making the weapons. What they're doing is they are creating a narrative with their dollars.
We've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion, greatest weapons, and I hate to do it because we believe in peace through strength.
Most people think the US entered World War II out of moral duty, to stop Hitler, to protect freedom, but the truth, the US was interested in one thing: trade, not war. In fact, in 1939, America's military ranked 19th in the world, behind Portugal. Then came December 7, 1941, the day Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. America woke up, not for freedom, but for survival. And when America goes to war, it doesn't just fight, it builds. Factories that made cars started making tanks. Ford's plant built one B-24 bomber every single hour. Boeing churned out thousands of aircraft. The US government poured billions into the Manhattan Project, birthing the atomic bomb. And by 1945, when Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed, America had done something extraordinary. They didn't just win the war, they built a military economy. After World War II, you'd think America would demobilize, bring soldiers home, shut down factories. But there was a problem. The defense industry wasn't just big, it was the backbone of the economy. By 1945, 40% of America's GDP came from defense. Nearly 70 million Americans depended on war-related jobs. So peace? Peace was a threat to their paycheck, and when jobs mean votes, politicians made sure the factories kept running. That's when America learned something dangerous. If war makes money, peace becomes bad business. In 1961, President Dwight Eisenhower issued a chilling warning: beware of the military-industrial complex. He knew that America had created a self-sustaining beast, a cycle where corporations fund politicians, politicians fund wars, and wars fund corporations. It's a circle of influence, powerful, profitable, and permanent. Generals retire and join weapons companies. CEOs sit on Pentagon advisory boards. Lobbyists write the budgets. And every time the world burns, Wall Street celebrates. When the Nazis were gone, America needed a new villain. Enter the Soviet Union. In 1947, the US declared it would oppose communism anywhere in the world, by any means necessary. From that point, communism wasn't just an ideology, it was a brand new business opportunity. Hollywood made propaganda films. Textbooks warned children of the Red Threat. Fear became profitable, and this fear led to Vietnam, a poor country, half a world away, that had nothing to do with America. But through propaganda, the US turned Vietnam into the front line of the battle for freedom. By 1968, 530,000 US soldiers were in Vietnam. America dropped 4 million tons of bombs in 10 years, 45 tons every hour. Bell Helicopter made billions. Raytheon pocketed $620 million in contracts in 1968 alone, and construction giant Brown & Root made hundreds of millions building bases and roads. For politicians, war meant votes. For corporations, war meant profits. For soldiers, war meant death. And when the war finally ended in 1975, the US left Vietnam in ruins, but the weapons companies had never been richer. After Vietnam came the Gulf War, a war born not out of defense, but out of corporate interests in oil. The US funded Saddam Hussein in the 1980s. Then, when he invaded Kuwait, they turned against him. Donald Rumsfeld, the man once shaking Saddam's hand, was now the man overseeing his execution. Then came Afghanistan and Iraq. 21 years. $2 trillion. And yet, the Taliban rule again. So, where did the money go? According to US government audits, hundreds of billions were unaccounted for, wasted or lost to corruption. But the defense contractors? They posted record profits. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon. These companies became empires, each bigger than the GDP of entire nations. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, history repeated itself. Billions of dollars in aid, thousands of missiles and tanks. But who really benefited? Within weeks, US defense stocks surged, new contracts worth $40 billion were signed, and NATO allies were pressured to modernize, which means buy American. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Gaza burns, Yemen suffers, and the business of war keeps booming. Because every conflict, whether in Europe, the Middle East, or Africa, feeds the same monster: the American war economy. Here's the haunting truth. In the modern world, peace doesn't sell. The media sells fear, politicians sell protection, corporations sell weapons, and people keep buying the illusion of safety. The American war machine is no longer a policy, it's a business model. And, like every business, it needs growth. So the next time a politician says, "We fight for peace," ask yourself, who profits when the world starts burning? Behind every bullet lies a budget, behind every missile, a marketing plan, and behind every war for peace, a balance sheet painted in blood. Until the world learns to question who profits from its pain, the war machine will always keep winning. This was The Business of War, a Talk Maniac documentary. If you found this story eye-opening, hit that like button so YouTube doesn't bury it, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses on politics, power, and propaganda. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical.